A lot of reports recently have told us that Kang the Conqueror is still a part of Marvel Studios' plans for the multiverse saga and Avengers 5. Now, we've recently heard that there are going to be 2 villains in Avengers 5, so the name still might be changing. Of course, it was titled Avengers Kang Dynasty before, but a report came out right after Jonathan Majors was fired, stating that Marvel Studios was now referring to it as Avengers 5 and not Kang Dynasty. And Disney recently had a presentation for investors where they showed the entire MCU timeline, and Avengers 5 was simply listed as Avengers 5. But luckily for us, that doesn't mean Kang is gone. In fact, it sounds like he is still going to be the main villain of Avengers 5. However, the Avengers will have to get through another villain or another team of villains before they move on to Kang. But they will get to him, and it does sound like they are still going to explore some of the multiverse aspects of the MCU in this film. Which of course makes sense because that is what everything is going to lead up to. The collapse, the destruction of the multiverse, giving us Avengers Secret Wars, where heroes and villains from all different universes finally come together and will most likely all team up to go up against Kang the Conqueror and his many variants. And the new report that we have today is very interesting with how the Avengers run into Kang, how they first kind of discover him. And it has me wondering if there is going to indeed be a good variant of Kang out there somewhere who helps the Avengers. But we'll dive into it. This report comes from the new insider Holyfield News. Address this as a rumor and take it with a grain of salt for now, but they have had reports been proven true already. But the first part of this report reads, the new Avengers will encounter a group of supervillains in the first part of Avengers 5. This is not Kang. And we don't know who it is at this point in time, but I think the reason for this is very specific. I think they're going to have a villain in the beginning of the movie just to kind of bring the new Avengers team together. Now, based off of what we've heard, the plan that Marvel Studios has is to bring the new Avengers together kind of gradually throughout other films until we get to Avengers 5 and they really come together. And what I mean by that is that we're going to start to see members of the new Avengers team come together in other films, like in Captain America: Brave New World. We know that that's going to set up the new Avengers because some of the new Avengers characters will meet and sort of regroup in that film. Plus, we know that Thunderbolt Ross wants Sam Wilson, Captain America, to reform the Avengers. He wants him to develop a new Avengers team. This has already been confirmed by the footage that was shown at CinemaCon and Disney's Upfront. So we know that the new Avengers team will start to be gathered in Captain America: Brave New World. The whole team won't be gathered in that film, but in Avengers 5, I believe that the first villain of the film is really going to be so that the full team can come together. That way, when they finally introduce the true threat of the film, Kang, the Avengers team will be complete. At least complete for the film, because what we've heard is that the Avengers team will be missing some key players in this movie. Like Doctor Strange is reportedly not going to be a part of the new Avengers team, not for Avengers 5. He will go on to become a part of the Avengers in Secret Wars, but we've heard that Doctor Strange 3 kind of takes him out of the fight for a while because he's dealing with his own problems. He'll be traveling throughout the multiverse with Clea and the Black Priest, which is a multiversal organization in the comics. They are trying to keep the multiverse from collapsing, and Doctor Strange is actually the leader of the group in the comics. It sounds like it's going to be different in Doctor Strange 3, like they're going to be trying to stop Doctor Strange because they believe he is the problem of the multiverse collapsing. Just like Mr. Fantastic mentioned in Multiverse of Madness, they believe that the problem, the threat to the universe, the multiverse, is Stephen Strange. That's what they're going to explore more in Doctor Strange 3, and that's going to take him completely out of the fight for Avengers 5, but that might mean that Wong comes in as the Sorcerer Supreme. It would make sense that he would come in and be a part of the new Avengers team. And based off of what the rest of this report says, it sounds like they're definitely going to need him. The next part says, the team is going to discover Kang the Conqueror at the new Avengers HQ. So at the new Avengers headquarters, they're going to discover Kang. It sounds like Kang is going to be waiting there for them. And at this point in time, thanks to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the movie, plus the post-credit scene, we know that Kang and a lot of the Kang variants, including the Council of Kangs, know who the Avengers are, and the post-credit scene showed us that they do perceive the Avengers as a threat. When the Council of Kangs were talking in the post-credit scene for Quantumania, when talking about how the Exiled One died, Immortus said, "None of us killed him, they did," speaking about the Avengers. Then he said, "They're beginning to touch the multiverse, and if we let them, they will take everything we've built." And then this next part is key to Avengers 5. Then he says, "So let's stop wasting time, implying that they are now going to go after the Avengers. So it sounds like a Kang variant is going to go to the main sacred timeline, which is our 616 universe, and it sounds like he's going to go and try and stop the Avengers before things get out of hand. And since Kang is super advanced, he has super advanced technology, he's incredibly smart and of course can time travel, he probably knows everything about the current Avengers, including where their new headquarters are. And you have to wonder how the Avengers might defeat this Kang variant in Avengers 5, since it sounds like Kang is probably going to be way too powerful for the Avengers. However, there is more to this report. It states that a collection of alternate realities will be visited. And the last part says that the TVA will be involved. And we'll talk about that in just a bit, but let's talk about this collection of alternate realities will be visited. This is why I think that Wong could be a part of the team, so he can help them travel to different realities. He is the Sorcerer Supreme, and he does have America Chavez training right now. So even if he himself doesn't know how to travel the multiverse, they could use America Chavez's powers to do that. Since she has been training, she might have them under control now. But if not, we know that Ant-Man has already ran into a variant of Kang the Conqueror. He kind of brushed it off, but I'm assuming when they meet another variant of Kang, that would be a pretty good time to bring it up. So at that point in time, they'll probably realize that not only can the multiverse help you time travel like they did in Avengers Endgame, but it can help you multiverse travel as well. So they do have a couple of options of how they could visit different universes throughout the multiverse, either Wong, America Chavez, or Ant-Man, or the final option, which is what we just mentioned, the TVA. We already know that Loki is Yggdrasil. He basically is holding the entire multiverse together right now so that it can actually exist, but we do know that Loki is also monitoring the multiverse along with the TVA. In fact, right now, as far as we're concerned, the TVA's sole job is to find Kang variants. So perhaps when a Kang variant pops up in the main 616 universe going up against the Avengers, the TVA comes and they try to intervene. I'm assuming they fail because I'm assuming this is going to be one of the more powerful Kang variants, not one that they could simply just eliminate with relative ease, but a more powerful version. And that might lead to the Avengers working with the TVA to try and get rid of this one, since the TVA can't do it themselves and the Avengers can't do it themselves as well. So this could lead to the TVA giving the Avengers the ability to travel the multiverse. And I actually really like this idea because I think that the TVA does need to be more involved with the Avengers. They all want the same thing, and Loki is behind the TVA now. And although, of course, he has had his history with the Avengers, he is completely and totally changed. He is an amazing person now. So amazing that he basically sacrificed himself to keep the entire multiverse alive and allow it to happen, to give people true free will. But of course, the one thing that Loki wants done that the TVA does is to get rid of the Kang variants so they don't cause another multiversal war. So the TVA working with the Avengers makes perfect sense. And I'm assuming they do defeat one variant of Kang the Conqueror in Avengers 5, but then they discover, of course, there's infinite variants of this person. And perhaps, as I've been predicting for a while, they might actually lose in Avengers 5, or they could defeat one variant, but then realize that defeating one doesn't matter and the multiverse is truly falling apart due to incursions and due to other variants of Kang the Conqueror. I think in Avengers 5 at the end, we will see the collapse of the multiverse. But that's just my theory. Let me know what you think about this report in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the latest news. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.